This is Shelley Craft coming to you live on SNNLive. We're coming to you from the 7th Annual Precious Metals Summit in Beaver Creek, Colorado, 2017. I have with me today on the program Jeff Williams from MacPhersons Resources Ltd. It's a publicly traded company and it's MRP on the ASX. Welcome to SNNLive.
Thank you very much for having me, Shelley.
It's good to have you. Let's get started. Tell our audience a brief overview of the company and then we'll go from there.
This is a gold exploration company 10 kilometres from Kalgoorlie in Western Australia.
So, what's the size of the land package?
We have about 200 square kilometres of exploration property, and as I said, we're hemmed in on three sides by three majors. One is Newmont out of the States, has the major super pit gold mine. We have Northern Star Exploration at the northern end, which hems a big producer. It's worth about $3 billion. And at the southern end, we're hemmed in by West Gold, another major resource company, gold producer in Western Australia.
So are you doing a drill program at the moment?
We are. We're going to commence on the 2nd of October a 30,000 metre reverse circulation program to prove up a ore reserve and a mineral resource estimate on our property called Boorara Gold Fields.
What's the infrastructure with all of those elephants in the area?
Well, this is where we are. But within 10 kilometres, we can drive to our site from Kalgoorlie, which is about 15 minutes on a bitumen road. We also have 4 major mills surrounding us, which could, in the future, process some of our ores. And I'll just tell them, the super pit's a 14 million tonne mill, which is owned by Newmont. The second is Kanowna Belle, which is owned by Northern Star. The third is Lakewood, which is at the bottom end of Kalgoorlie, which is 15 kilometres away. And fourth is the Jubilee Gold Mine, which is a mill there, 40 kilometres away. And we know that some of those mills are short of dirt. So we have an opportunity going forward in the next, particularly 2018, if we can prove up the resources and get them into pits, that we could have a custom milling position or even better, joint venture. We're in such a great position in Kalgoorlie, and I'll give you a feel for if you're operating so close to Kalgoorlie. Normally in the gold fields, when you find a resource and then you create an open pit reserve, it'll be underground or open pit, you need to put in an airstrip, you need to put in facilities to accommodate people, you need maintenance bays, you need huge infrastructure on site, and that's a costly exercise. 10 kilometres from Kalgoorlie, everyone lives in Kalgoorlie. So basically, we did a trial pit, and I'll go into that later, and everyone lived there, and everyone came out to site and went home, and they felt very good, and we got some good expertise from Kalgoorlie based on the fact that we're positioned near it. Secondly, with services, when we were using explosives, they're all in Kalgoorlie. We'd ring up, they'd come out, load the holes and go back to Kalgoorlie. When we're doing the surveying, just surveying the pits, we called the guy in Kalgoorlie, who's a contract surveyor, come out and do the contract within the hour and go back. It's like, just come out very quickly. So the benefits are, we're close to Kalgoorlie and there's so much in there. We even had trouble with a truck. So they sent it back to Kalgoorlie to the maintenance bay in Kalgoorlie. So what I'm telling you is when we go into operation, our operating costs will be down because of that aspect. And of course, we're going to call on a lot of expertise out of Kalgoorlie. So, we are in a very nice position. Of course, we have to come up with the ounces, and that's going to be in our next RC drill program.
What's your background?
I'm a mining engineer out of Broken Hill in New South Wales, a famous mine. It's a famous silver lead zinc mine underground. Cut my teeth there, into Melbourne, MBA, broking. Saw the light and got into mining, so it's great. And from there, I set up a company with nothing, and it was called Mineral Deposits Limited. It's on the ASX, code MDL, still operating on the ASX. And we built the company from zero. It was just a nothing, which was good. Anyway, I went into Senegal in West Africa and built a gold mine in West Africa, and that's now been, we farmed that gold mine, that property, into a new company called Boorara Gold Corporation, which is on the TSX, and MDL, and we're also the second asset I picked up personally was a mineral sands operation, and that's operating right now, and that was built for 700 million. So it's been the track record's okay so far. You know?
I got a profound question for you. What's the history on this property? If it's surrounded, was it undiscovered? I mean, no one paid attention to it. Was this a claim no one wanted? What's the story?
Great question, Shelley. It's funny, there's been 70,000 metres of drilling, and normally when you've done that amount of drilling, you've actually discovered something, or you've said, let's pass on and go somewhere else. And some of the major companies have been there, say a Newmont, they've drilled it out, a Barrick, New Hampton Goldfields, there's been a numerous number, and over 40 years, if you can imagine, you're drilling, you don't know the Australian landscape, but you're drilling at 90 degrees to where we think the strike of the mineralisation is. So you drill at 90, which is probably logical to do, and they did that for 40 years. And then our GM, Andrew Pumphrey, who's at the conference today, Andrew sort of worked out with another consultant that we've all been drilling the wrong way. And we turned that, so instead of drilling at 60 degrees, he turned the rig around and drilled at 115, and you think, well, who cares? Well, that 115 turned the project. And for instance, the first hole, after we were getting grades of between 1 and 1.2 grams, the first hole was 163 metres at nearly 2 grams cut, 4.3 grams uncut. That was a mighty intersection. And we've had numerous intersections since then, over about half a kilometre. So we felt that, boy, this warrants a big push now to do a major RC drill program. But it all came from our GM on site, and we've got a small team there of geologists, and they've really put the hard work in, and we've kept it tight. And by using those skills that we know in the area, we've been able to actually turn this into what was generally called a very low grade project into something that could come up with a bit of grade.
Let's get your website out there for more information, if you would.
Our website is MRP.ASX, and we have a number of presentations, but it's worth having a look at the video. We got a video of the site. You know, it's typically done by a drone, a local guy, fabulous, you know, and he flew it across, and it shows you where we're situated in relation to Kalgoorlie. We're near the Super Pit, which is our largest gold mine in Australia. That's 800,000 ounces per annum. So 10 kilometres from there is not a bad position, and you can see it in the video, and then you can see our property where it lies. We have a mine lease, we have power, we have approval for water, and the reason we've got that mine lease is because we did this trial mining. And I'll be just quick on that. Last October, we decided as a team to do a trial pit down to 20 metres by about 120 metres by about 30 metres wide. The reason we did that, because we actually didn't understand the project properly. After all that 70,000 metres, you know, we still weren't sure. After cutting that, as soon as we cut that and we did all this work, particularly extra geological work to do a structural geology, that's when we turned the rig around. That actually provided us the opportunity to sort of reanalyse the project and get it going. So it was really important. That was one. The second part of that little pit, which turned out to be a gem, was we picked up that material in there, we bulked it out. It was 1.3 grams, we thought. And when we did the drilling, it came up at 2 grams. We thought, oh wow, what's going on here? So we didn't actually understand what was going inside the ore zone. We picked that ore, we trucked it 70 kilometres to a mill near Kalgoorlie called Greenfield, put it through. It came up with 2 gram dirt. In other words, all the drilling at 90 degrees was downgrading the grade until we turned it around. So it was so important to do that. But more importantly, after trucking it all that distance and mining it, and to be frank, when you custom mill with someone else, you get hurt with the costs. The costs are quite high. I won't say how high, but it's pretty high. And we made 300,000 after doing all that extra work. So it was, but that was really quite an exercise in going through the mines department, getting a complete mine processing done, and also getting the mine lease certified. So it was really important. We're a long way down the track.
Well, remember something. I'm not going to ask you for your website again.
No.
Okay? But anyway, for our audience, give it one more time.
The website is MRP.ASX, and please have a look at the video. It will tell you everything.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Williams, MacPhersons Resources Ltd. It's a publicly traded company, and the symbol is MRP on the ASX. I'm Shelley Craft. This is SNNLive. We're coming to you live from the 7th Annual Precious Metals Summit in Beaver Creek, Colorado, 2017. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, Shelley. Pleasure.